by an Arizona licensed general dentist. Affordable dentures and implants. Go ahead and smile.
Go ahead and smile.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. Don't let prostate cancer sideline you. Early detection can save lives. Talk to Arizona urology specialists about getting screened. Arizona Urology Specialists, personal care for life's most personal issues. Visit ArizonaURO.com or call 602-887-2160.
This holiday season, the Arizona Lottery is celebrating the little things with holiday scratchers like joy, happiness, giving, and a dash of fun. With the chance to win up to $500,000 and an all-expense-paid trip to Hawaii with the Hawaiian Holiday Giveaway. Give the gift of joy with Arizona Lottery's Holiday Scratchers. Visit ArizonaLottery.com to find a retailer near you.
Exciting news from the Window Depot. Their brand new location is now open near Cave Creek and Bell Road. Discover the largest selection of vinyl windows, doors, cabinets, skylights, countertops, and more. Planning a remodel? Their experts are here to make your vision a reality with exclusive special order options and a wide selection of in-stock inventory available to go home today. For the best price and the biggest inventory, visit one of their 3 Valley locations or shop online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
I had the ring already. She had made it very clear what kind of ring she wanted.
Yep.
I pretended that I was going to kneel and picked up a pine cone instead of pulling out a ring.
What a jerk. But when I saw that ring, I was like, oh, he did good.
I really love Amy. I really, really genuinely love Amy.
I love you too.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
America's favorite car show returns to Scottsdale for its final pit stop of the year. It's the Good Guys 27th Speedway Motors Southwest National, and it's all happening November 22nd to the 24th at Westworld. See over 3,000 of the country's finest and rarest classics on display. Plus, experience Good Guys CPP Autocross racing action, the all-new Square Body Syndicate GM truck get-together, live music, family fun, and so much more. It's Arizona's biggest hot rodding party of the fall, and it's all going down November 22nd to the 24th at Westworld of Scottsdale. Details at good-guides.com.
Let's play Star Radio Jeopardy! The answer is Thomas Crapper.
Who invented the toilet?
Correct. Let's try another. The answer is Parker & Sons.
Who installed Crapper's toilet?
Close.
Who's been the Valley's leading plumbing, drain cleaning, and AC company for over 30 years and won the BBB Torch Award for business ethics?
Correct. Keep yourself out of plumbing jeopardy. Call Parker at 602-2-REPAIR. That's 602, the number 2, then REPAIR for Parker & Sons.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
A happy Victory Monday to you here. Monday, November 11th. Happy Veterans Day. Welcome into another edition of the Lunch Break. KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you. Got you for the next 2 hours. A lot of football for us to get into today, but that is not the top story. What is kind of the daily special, but we'll get to it here in a second. We have to address the elephant in the room. We have to start the show with what is clearly the most important thing that all of you are thinking about coming out of the weekend, and that was the absolute abysmal performance by the Schubert Six over the weekend. We were going to talk about it for the next 2 hours. I figured we would just get to it right here off of the gate. A bad performance from the Schubert Six. We felt good on a Friday, 4-pointer already in the bag. We felt great. Felt great in the second half with our 6-point play. The Commanders playing exactly the way we thought they were going to play. Felt really good. Was for naught. Did not get the 6-point play. Thank you to the Chargers for covering for the 1-point play. That's lovely. We're here for the big dogs. We're here for the big point allocation, and we failed in a big way yesterday. I think it was another 500 week for us, so we're just incredibly consistent. So if you are not tiering the picks with us and you're just picking along with us, you're 500. So based on the juice, you might be up a little bit, you might be down a little bit. We've had a couple underdogs in there, but overall, just a very mediocre performance so far. We have to turn things around in a hurry. We need to turn things around the way a certain Arizona football team has turned things around. And so that is where we will lead into next, because that is today's Daily Special.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
I'm taking no further questions on the Schubert 6. So if you call in at 480-864-1060 to try to get in and talk about the Schubert 6, no thank you. Those phone calls rejected. We will not be doing it here on the show today. What we will be doing a lot of on the show today is a conversation about your Arizona Cardinals moving to 6-4, staying in first place in the NFC West, and doing so in convincing fashion, doing so in dominating fashion. I was there in the building with my father, who flew all the way from the East Coast to participate, to watch this game, and it was uncompetitive for him. We at no point did the Jets have any chance of winning that football game, because the Arizona Cardinals utterly dominated the New York Jets, and domination has been the name of the game the last couple of weeks for the Cardinals at home. 2 straight weeks in particular with what they did with the Bears a week ago. They have just been utterly dominant. Doesn't matter the talent disparity that you might think the Arizona Cardinals have. It might not matter the opponent that they are facing. The Arizona Cardinals are playing dominating, convincing football right now, and they've done so for the 2nd straight week. They have done so for what is now the 3rd straight home game. You look at a team that has dominated Justin Herbert, that has dominated Caleb Williams, that has dominated Aaron Rodgers. It has been incredibly impressive what this team has been able to do, and sort of bucking the trend of our statistic, because there were 3 players that tied with 5 targets: Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., and James Conner. So it does count for the statistic, but they didn't have to throw the ball all that much. Kyler Murray, remember, 20 pass attempts the week before, a little bit more this week, 24 pass attempts, completed tied a franchise record, or beat a franchise record with 17 consecutive passes completed. Just domination. Domination from the word go, domination up front in the trenches, and everything we warned you about on Friday, everything that we looked into the crystal ball and said, this is why the Arizona Cardinals will win a football game this weekend. This is why the Arizona Cardinals will move to 6-4 and be in first place, came true. They dominated up front. That defense showed up in a big way, and the Jets are who they've been for the entirety of the season, not just what was in the second half against the Houston Texans. That was what happened yesterday. The New York Jets continued to be a bad football team, and the Arizona Cardinals continue to do what they do to bad football teams. They chew them up and they spit them out. The Bears lost to the Patriots this past weekend. The Bears, not a good football team. You know what? The Cardinals took care of business against the Bears. The Jets coming in here, yeah, I know you beat the Texans. Great. Chewed up, spat out in the 4 o'clock window yesterday on the East Coast, the 2 o'clock window here. Spat out. James Conner was so dominant catching passes out of the backfield, he only carried the ball 12 times for 33 yards. Trey Benson, 6.2 yards per carry, 10 carries for 62 yards. He led the way on the ground, 147 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns for the Arizona Cardinals, who were just utterly dominant. Their first punt didn't come until the 4th quarter of the football game. These are the drives that the Cardinals had before the punt. This is all before the punt in the 4th quarter. 6-play, 70-yard touchdown drive to open the game. 9-play, 70-yard, take 5 minutes off the clock, touchdown drive. 10 plays, 70 yards, 6 minutes off the clock, touchdown. To end the half, 10 plays, 49 yards, 4 minutes off the clock, field goal. Scored on every drive in the first half. Open up in the second half, 10 plays, 88 yards, 6 minutes off the clock, touchdown. And then you had the drive with the punt that was still a 6-play drive, and then the last drive of the game, which was the end of the game, they went on a 7-play drive, killed off the final 4 minutes and 39 seconds. Utter domination. Utter domination from the Arizona Cardinals, who, if you are choosing to not take seriously at this point, I don't know what you're missing. They are a tiebreaker away from being the 3 seed in the NFC right now. A 3 seed. They have the same record as the Atlanta Falcons at 6-4. The only difference is Atlanta 4-2 in the conference. The Cardinals 3-3 in the conference. That's the difference. That's the tiebreaker. A team that had 406 total yards of offense, that again had a quarterback complete 17 straight passes, didn't turn the ball over, played another clean game, and we talked all last week. Got to get another pass rusher. Got to add to this group. You can't just rest on your laurels. You can't have this group be your group. They only had 3 sacks. Xavier Thomas, Jesse Luketa, Budda Baker were your only sacks in this game. But you know what? Didn't matter. They were still dominant. This group that we said we think is going to run out of gas is entering their bye week, winning 4 in a row, winning 5 of their last 6. So at some point, we have to face the reality that is in front of us, that they just continue to find ways to dominate the opposition. And I know what you might say, when they face the Lions in the postseason, or when they face the Eagles in the postseason, or the Commanders, one of these good teams in the postseasons, they'll be exposed. Are we all of a sudden talking about this team being a NFC championship contender? Are we all of a sudden talking about this team being a Super Bowl contender? No, that's not the conversation we're having. The conversation we're having today are the Arizona Cardinals a playoff team? And unequivocally, the answer is yes. They are 6-4. They've won 5 of their last 6. And the schedule for them the rest of the way is extremely favorable. And if they are going to beat up on the Patriots, the Panthers, at least one time the Seahawks, the way that they have dominated the Bears, the Jets, if they're going to continue to do that, this team is going to touch double-digit wins. They are 6-4. If they play the way that they played today or yesterday and the way that they played last week, if they play that way when they go to Seattle in 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about a 7-4 Cardinals team. If they bring that style when they play the Patriots and Panthers, you can add 2 more wins to the win total. What about this team? Other than you think that they're going to run out of gas. That's the only thing you have at this point. Kyler Murray is playing good football. He is playing smart, quality football. Is he wowing you? Is he going to be the top of your fantasy league every week in terms of quarterback points? No, he is not going to do that. He is playing winning, smart, complementary football. That is what this Cardinals coaching staff has asked of him, and he is doing it. He is stepping up in a big way. If he's going to continue to do that, if this defense is going to continue to overplay the talent disparity that they're going to have on a regular basis, if they're going to continue, they haven't a lot of touchdown in 10 plus quarters or something. It's been unbelievable what they've been doing. What is to tell you that this is going to stop other than you think that they're going to run out of gas? And so far, they haven't, and they are going to hit their bye week. So they're going to fill up the tank. And I was the first person to say, I don't think they did enough. And I worried about the conversation we were going to have. But if they are going to continue to play this way, then we will no longer have to have those conversations. And there's no reason to think that they can't do it. Coming up on the other side, the Suns lose the first game of a major test for them, but may have lost more than just that. That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
I'll turn those picks into gold.
Wall-to-wall NFL coverage and the biggest stories coming to you from 3 to 5 p.m. The Rich Eisen Show here on KDUS AM 1060 and KDUS1060.com.
Stars are shining down on Goldberg and Osborne. The Eagle has more than 2,200 five-star Google reviews from across Arizona, like these.
They go that extra mile to let you know they care. A wonderful experience.
They treat their clients like family, and their professionalism is the best in the business.
They made sure I got a great offer. Like a bulldog, they fought for me.
Well said, everyone. After any accident, remember, deferred is the word. Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THEEAGLE.com.
Teeth are amazing. That's why at Affordable Dentures and Implants, they believe it's time the world sees your smile. With new financing options available, you don't need to wait to get your smile back. 6 practices in the Phoenix area open to serve you. Schedule a free new smile consultation. Call 1-800-DENTURE or visit AffordableDentures.com to find a location near you. Services provided by an Arizona licensed general dentist. Affordable Dentures and Implants. Go ahead and smile.
Go ahead and smile.
The Mitsubishi Year in Sales event is going on now at Scottsdale Mitsubishi. Right now, you can receive 0.99% APR for up to 60 months on the 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander and Outlander Plug-in Hybrid. That's right, 0.99% for full 60 months and 90 days no payment.
And bring down your trade to receive up to $1,000 trade-in bonus cash on select models. Come see why Scottsdale Mitsubishi is your official inflation-fighting dealership. The name to remember, Scottsdale Mitsubishi, Scottsdale Mitsubishi.
Another Mark Auto Group dealership.
You want a sub freshly sliced to order? You go to Jersey Mike's. You want the perfect radio idea? You go to me. Like this. I'm a lone ninja warrior. By night, I glide unseen across the rooftops, watching my enemies from the shadows. By day, I go to Jersey Mike's, watching someone freshly slice my sub. My blade is called Shadow. His blade is a Berserker brand meat slicer. Clearly, I have much to learn about this land. Freshly sliced just for you. Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Check out the Doug Gottlieb Show, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m., right here on KDUS AM 1060.
Welcome back to the program, the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you. You want to join the show, 480-864-1060 is the phone number. You can also join us live on YouTube. Just search KDUS AM 1060. You can hop into the comments, read your comment on the air as well. So a lot of different ways for you to be interactive with the show here today on a Reaction Monday to a lot of stuff from over the weekend. We opened with the Arizona Cardinals and their big win to stay in first place in the NFC West. To get to 6-4 after beating the Jets handedly 31-6. And now we have to talk about the Phoenix Suns, who normally on a football Monday wouldn't be a topic of conversation in the first hour. We probably stick that in the second hour of the show prep, but they had a interesting weekend, and it started on Friday with a game that has been kind of the norm for the Phoenix Suns as of late, a game that came down to the wire in the fourth quarter where they came through. They moved to 7-0 in those clutch game situations. It's just who they've been, what they've been trying to do. They have played these closely contested games in the fourth quarter, and they have excelled in large part due to Kevin Durant. And so they beat the Mavs 114-113 after a foul with like 0.8 of a second left in that game. They hit their free throws, they win the game, and then they followed it up with an overtime loss yesterday back at home against the Kings, 127-118, in large part because of what we're about to talk about, is that they have been banged up. Now, Ryan Dunn made the trip, didn't play against the Mavs, but played in the game against the Kings when they came back. And so his injury we can take off the table, but there have been 3 other injuries that have popped up since then. A calf strain for Kevin Durant that's going to leave him out for at least the next 2 weeks for this team before he gets reevaluated, and we'll see what that process looks like. You have Nurkic, who played the first half of that game against the Kings last night, but then was ruled out at halftime, so that's not a good sign. And then Bradley Beal dealing with both an ankle and a knee injury, and the knee injury was so bad he forgot what ankle that he hurt. And so we'll see what the Monday injury report looks like for this team. Their next action is tomorrow against the Jazz in the first NBA Cup game for the Suns this year. So the in-season tournament, I believe it is the Emirates NBA Cup is what they're calling it this year. Their first NBA Cup game in group play is tomorrow in Utah against the Jazz. So we'll get our injury report today to see where Nurk is at, where Beal is at. Obviously, Durant's going to be out for the next couple of weeks. And so, yes, losing to the Kings, not great. Losing in overtime, not great. They fall to 8-2, but you just feel as if the bigger problem is as they enter this really important test that we talked about, and they're going to start that stretch of what I believe is 4 consecutive road games. 5 of their next 6 was on the road, starting with that game against the Mavs. So the next 4 are all on the road, including the NBA Cup game tomorrow. And they will be doing so without Kevin Durant. They might be doing so without Nurkic, and they might be doing at least a game or 2 without Bradley Beal. And the injury bug that has plagued this team in the past, specifically when it comes to the big 3 of Durant, Booker, and Beal, seems to be popping up again. And there are 2 different ways to look at this. You can look at it and say, here we go again. These guys are never going to be healthy enough to take the court in these key games, in these key moments. And I'm not getting my hopes up because we've already started less than 10 games into the season. We already are going to miss 2 weeks with Kevin Durant. Bradley Beal might have to miss some time, and he's already been hurt already this season for a game. I'm not getting my hopes up. Here we go again. Yeah, 8-2 start, not happening. I'm not buying it. That's one side of the equation. The other side of the equation is, okay, they've built up a healthy cushion for themselves. They can withstand Kevin Durant being out for a couple of weeks. They don't want that calf injury to turn into something worse, and he misses an extended period of time. So take your time, take things slow. You have other players on this team that can step up. Ryan Dunn in particular can, in Kevin Durant's absence, step up and be a major contributor. We're going to look at it from the glass half full perspective and say, if you're going to have these injuries, you'd rather them happen early so that you can take the time that it requires to manage these properly and make sure that when Kevin Durant comes back, he's not at risk of re-aggravating it or something else popping up. You can take your time. You can take your time with Nurkic. You can take your time with Bradley Beal. There isn't a rush. And yes, if maybe you drop a couple of games here, that's okay. It's a long season. You're playing the long game here. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And you built up that cushion, winning 8 of your first 10, to allow yourself to maybe weather this storm a little bit. Those are the two camps that you can fall into. Personally, I'm going to fall into the latter camp. I think it is extremely reasonable to say, hey, we've only played 10 games here. Yes, these injuries are not great. Yes, it's not ideal to miss Kevin Durant for 2 weeks, but let's see what it looks like. Let's see how this team responds. Let's see how this team plays. And they've built up this cushion to where if this is going to be their stretch where they stub their toe or they don't play well, we already said it was going to be difficult with everybody healthy, with the way that the schedule broke. And so it's okay. This is not going to torpedo their season because they have to play the next 2 weeks without Kevin Durant. If they had to play the rest of the season without Kevin Durant, that torpedoes your season. That changes the tone of our conversation today. But I think it's incredibly fair to look at this team and not be super concerned. Now, I will say it's disappointing because we spent a lot of last week hyping up this stretch. We hyped it up as a watermark for this team. We hyped it up as a chance to really see what they're made of. And now I don't think you can really take a whole lot of anything from this. Other than if they just go on an incredible run without Durant, maybe with Nurk missing a game or two, whatever the result of Bradley Beal's x-rays and MRIs are. If they just don't miss a beat and they go into Utah and they win and they get revenge against the Kings and then they beat like if they just go on a run this week and win 2 out of 3 against the Jazz, Kings, and Thunder, then I think you're going to be like, all right, that's good. That's encouraging. But if they go 0-3 and it's because Durant's not playing, Nurkic is also misses a game or two, they rest Beal, whatever they do, if they're not at close to 100% capacity, again, if the only player they're missing is Durant, then I think there's a chance they can win 2 out of 3 and you'll feel good. If they're missing other pieces, is it going to change how you feel about this basketball team? If Nurkic and Beal don't play all 3 games this week, Durant's out for the next 2 weeks, and they lose all 3 of these games and they fall to 8-5, are you going to all of a sudden the sky's falling? Are we going to all of a sudden say season's over? Are we all of a sudden going to say this team can't do it? Or are we going to look at it and say, well, they didn't have Kevin Durant. They missed Bradley Beal. They missed Nurkic. You can't ask Devin Booker and Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal and Tyus Jones to do it all. That's probably the conversation we're going to have. We're not going to be, this guy is falling, the season's over, blow it up at the trade deadline, start dissecting trade options for Devin. We're not going to do that because you can, in a vacuum, look at this and say, this is not what this team is supposed to be. I have a sample size of what this team is supposed to be. It's not this. They're not healthy. Now, if you want to come back to me and say, hey, this is the problem with this team, they're never healthy, okay, we can have that honest debate. But you know, when you sign up for Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal to be your big 3, that you are never playing a full season with all those guys. Between rest, designed rest that you're going to give these guys, between knowing that there's going to be a week or 2 or some level of time where these guys are going to miss some action because of an injury and the team's going to take it slow, you knew you were never going to get a full regular season from these guys. You just want them to be healthy in the second half of the year and when the postseason starts, and have played enough games together under this new coaching regime to feel good about where things are. That's still 100% on the table. Kevin Durant could only miss 2 weeks and come right back and not miss a beat. And we saw that age is not a factor for him. If he's going to continue to play this way when he's healthy, this team, I think the sky's the limit for this team. I think this team can truly make noise in the Western Conference. It's a huge blow. It doesn't feel great. We were getting excited about what this test could be, and it feels like we're just going to get the assignment turned back and it's going to be an incomplete. And I'm not going to be able to gauge one way or the other what this team truly is. Now, if they sweep this week, they win all 3 of these games, I'm going to be able to tell you, you need to start taking this team more seriously if you're somebody that's still on the fence. I'm going to tell you to get off the fence. Now, we do that later in the week on the show, but for this moment, I will tell you that you'll have to get off the fence and you'll need to be bought in if they're able to do that. And so it sucks because you go into Friday's game against the Mavs, you're feeling good. Team's continuing to win in these crunch moments. They do it again against Dallas, and then it just felt like the rest of the weekend was just a disaster. Durant injury, you lose the game to the Kings, but I think more importantly than the loss to the Kings is losing Nurkic at halftime, and then Beal with the ankle knee, just not knowing what that future looks like. So a lot of injury report talk on this show on a pretty regular basis, like we do it a lot, specifically with the Cardinals. Now we're going to have to do it today with the Suns. When the Monday injury report comes out for the Phoenix Suns, we will see if this team's going to miss Nurkic, if they're going to miss Beal for an extended period of time, and what that might look like the rest of the week. But the NBA Cup starts tomorrow. Are we in on the NBA Cup? Producer Dylan, thumbs up, thumbs down? Okay, so for those of you who are just listening on radio and obviously on the YouTube side of things, you can only see the one shot of me. Producer Dylan looked at me and didn't put a thumbs up or a thumbs down, just kind of did like, nah, I'm in the middle. Not really bought it. A good thing this isn't an edition of Off the Fence because you would have to have picked the side. I don't know. I think I'm in. I like the courts. It makes the regular season a little bit more enjoyable. The players clearly respond to it. They get more amped for these games. Like there is a clear response from the players. Now, this is year 2. We'll see how they react to it tomorrow when these games get underway. But I'm excited to see the different court and just, again, the NBA is really good at this. They are really good at innovating, and they're really good at trying to come up with new ways to energize their fan base and get people engaged in the regular season. And I think year 1 was a success, and we'll see if year 2 can be the same for the NBA in-season tournament, the Emirates NBA Cup. The Lakers begin their defense of that cup tomorrow. Coming up on the other side, we will react to all of the action in Week 10 of the NFL season. You will hear a lot of that action, a lot of game-winning field goals, a lot of walk-off touchdowns. You will hear it all as we will do the Week 10 NFL Rewind. We'll do it next here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Bringing you the latest sports topics weekly right here on KDUS AM 1060 with me, the Doug Gottlieb Show, 1 to 3 p.m.
License number 146316.
I'm back in action!
What in the...
Oh, Tasha! I got my magical operations license back.
Does that mean your lamp passed inspection?
Yes!
I'm so happy for you, Jeannie.
They even said that they would be responsible if anything fails for the next 500 years.
Great news.
That's the same as PSAP commercial doors. Right, Tasha?
If we inspect your door and everything is working properly, we will take responsibility for it.
Amazing!
Jeannie, why are you laughing like that?
Because now the stupid Genie High Council can go suck an egg.
Jeannie?
ASAP, commercialdoors.com.
The council is a bunch of jerks.
Don't think you should say that.
A family called us recently after being told they had no case.
But we found evidence many others had missed and helped them win the largest car crash verdict in Arizona that year. Hiring the wrong lawyer can cost you everything.
Call the husband and wife law team first.
Hey, it's Pat. Sorry, Valley peeps. I'm just wiped today. And doing a little super scrolling on my phone late into the night. I can't help it. There are some cool Toyota reels out there. Camry reels, Corolla reels, Prius reels. There's even all new Tacoma reels. What can I say? Guess I'm keeping it real. Let's see what I did there. I gotta text that one to the kids.
Right now, get 4.99% financing for up to 60 months on a versatile RAV4, or up to 72 months on a new 2024 Tacoma, or the all-new all-hybrid 2025 Camry. Plus, get great lease deals on any new Toyota. Visit your Valley Toyota dealer or valleytoyotadealers.com today. Toyota, let's go places. 4.99% with $1,887 per thousand borrowed for 60 months. $1,610 per thousand borrowed for 72 months. Zero down payment if you qualify. Offers exclude TRD Pro and Trail Hunter models and N12224. See dealer for details.
Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable. Life is full of questions. Is the presentation ready for work tomorrow? Why is there so much traffic at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday? Are your in-laws visiting this weekend or next? You've got plenty of things to worry about. Whether your car will start shouldn't be one of them. With an outrageously dependable battery under your hood, you can cross one of those questions off your list, which gives you time to answer more things like,
are we there yet?
Interstate Batteries, delivering the most trustworthy source of power to the world since 1952.
Neon City Festival takes over downtown Las Vegas with art, food, and free performances by All-American Rejects, Alice in Wonderland, Neon Trees, Russell Dickerson, Seven Lions, and more. November 22nd through the 24th, visit neoncityfestival.com.
Hey, Phoenix, Doug Gottlieb here. I'm bringing the best sports talk weekdays to you, 1 to 3 p.m., right here on KDUS AM 1060.
Welcome back to the program, The Lunch Break, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you. Hope you're all having a great start to your Monday. Happy Veterans Day. Appreciate all the veterans that serve or have served this country. If you want to join the conversation today here on the program, 480-864-1060 is the phone number. You can also join us on the YouTube side of things. Just search up KDUS AM 1060 on YouTube, and you can watch the show. You can join us and see the visuals of the multiple cameras we got in here, and you can join the show that way. We do it every single Monday following the football season. It is our NFL Rewind, my instant hot takey reactions to all of the games from over the weekend. And so, producer Dylan, if you don't mind, could I have the lovely music, please? Thank you. Can't do this without the music. We start in Germany, where the Giants and Panthers got together for what was a mid-off between two really bad teams. And at least it was competitive. And you know how it ended? It ended in overtime, because you know what we needed more of was more of Giants-Panthers. 4 quarters wasn't enough. I needed more from Giants-Panthers at 7:30 in the morning on Sunday. That's what I needed. And you know what? It was a fumble in overtime that led to this.
36-yard attempt to win it. Pinheiro kicks it through. And the Panthers have won.
That was the winning field goal in overtime to give the Panthers the 20-17 win. My reaction to this is the Giants need to put everything back on the table. I know their ownership said that he doesn't anticipate making any changes with his GM and his head coach. I didn't anticipate you losing to the Panthers in Germany, okay? So the context changes a little bit. They're 2-8. They can't continue to play Daniel Jones because if he gets hurt, then that's going to guarantee that money in 2025. And so I think a change to Drew Lock. They just can't continue to roll this operation out there and expect to win football games. And I don't know at this point. I don't know if – I know quarterback's not coming back next year, but I don't know if the coach or GM is going to be able to survive this. Because if you can't beat the Panthers, who you beating? Panthers have 3 wins. The Panthers have more wins than you. You're 2-8. Panthers 3-7 with their win in Germany, 20-17. The Patriots, speaking of 3-win teams, the Patriots defeat the Chicago Bears 19-3. I was out in Glendale early for the Jets Cardinals festivities. I found myself watching at a local establishment all of the games. They were all on the screen. I didn't see a single. Now, the final score was 19-3, so they scored 22 points. I personally did not see any of the action. It got one screen in the corner of where I was watching, and that was it. You couldn't ask for it to get moved. Nobody cared. So this apparently happened in the game.
Play fake. May has a man open. It's a touchdown for Jalen Polk. And the rookie's in for the second time this year.
The takeaway here is the Bears are a mess. The Bears are 4-5. They should be better than this. Their quarterback's not playing particularly well. Their coaching staff is something that I don't believe in. And Matt Eberflus met with the media just a little bit ago and said, we're considering making some changes. The one change we are not making is at quarterback. Were people clamoring for them to sit the number 1 overall pick in Caleb Williams? Was that something? No, they want you gone. That's the change they want. They want you out of town there in Chicago because you're a defensive-minded head coach, and the coaching staff that you've put around Caleb Williams is not helping him. He's not helping himself. He's not playing particularly well, but it's a mess there. It should be a lot better. They should be threatening for a playoff spot, and if they continue to play this way, it's not even close to being on the table. The Bills beat the Colts 30-20 in a game that saw 400 turnovers. It felt like it. 3 picks from Joe Flacco, 2 picks from Josh Allen. There was a lost fumble by Joe Flacco, turnovers all over the place. Josh Allen was able to do this, though.
Allen keeps it himself right up the middle. Josh Allen at the 5, takes it in, touchdown! His 57th career rushing touchdown.
That led the Bills to a 30-20 win over the Indianapolis Colts. The takeaway here is the Bills, they just continue to take care of business. It's not pretty. They were in control of this game in the first half. They should have had it going away. They just kind of toyed around, playing with their food. They still covered the number, though, for the Schubert 6. This was one of the ones we got over the weekend. They took care of business, but it was close. And as somebody who had Jonathan Taylor touchdown props, to constantly watch him break off big plays and then get stopped short inside the red zone and then to see the ball go to somebody else was infuriating yesterday. The Chiefs, this one hurts. This one hurts because I thought that the Chiefs would turn things around and show who they were. They almost lost this game. They got to 9-0. They just continue to do it. And the reason why they got to 9-0 is they kicked a field goal to make it 16-14. But that wasn't it. They had to do this in order to win.
Kick it to win it. Oh! Blocked! The Chiefs have won! The Chiefs have won!
That is how the Chiefs made it 9-0 with their 16-14 win over the Broncos. A blocked field goal from 35 yards out, I believe, in the final seconds of the game. They move to 9-0. They don't do it in impressive fashion, but they do what they do. They find ways to win football games. This next game, the Saints, with their new coach, they beat the Falcons 20-17. I warned you all week about this. I said, not happening. Not in a million years are we touching this game, because you looked at the line, Falcons only a 3.5-point favorite. Felt like a trap. It was a trap because the Saints got that first game boost after firing the head coach, and they were able to defeat the Atlanta Falcons 20-17 to get their third win of the season. The Falcons fall to 6-4, even with the Cardinals for that third seed in the NFC. The 49ers, they needed to walk it off in a big way. So far, what have we had? We've had a walk-off field goal block from Kansas City. How about a walk-off field goal being made by Jake Moody?
Jake Moody to win it from 44. Kick is up, and it is up and through. It's good. The 49ers win.
Wasn't pretty, but the 49ers found a way to get it done. They win 23-20 over the Bucks, and I think the story of this game is the 49ers are not playing to what I think everybody on the national stage thinks their standard is, but they're hanging around. They're 5-4. They're one win back of the Cardinals. They're tied with them in the loss column. They play again later in the season. So that's the team you worry the most about right now. I don't think you worry about the Seahawks. I don't think you worry about the Rams. I think the team you worry about the most right now, if you are the Arizona Cardinals, is the team that everybody predicted to win this division. You'd feel a lot differently if the Bucs were able to pull that off, and then we're talking about a 4-5 49ers team. You would feel a little bit better about the cushion that you're building, but you don't really have that big of a cushion right now if you're the Cardinals. So this is your biggest threat. They were able to get it done in a big way. This one hurts so much. The Steelers beat the Commanders 28-27. And the thing that hurts the most about it is in the fourth quarter, the Commanders were leading this game 27-21. And I felt so good. It felt like, oh, the Commanders, defensive-minded coach, they're going to be able to come through. They're going to be able to just buckle down, play good defense. And even if the Steelers kick a field goal to try to just close the gap a little bit, we're going to cover the 2.5. We're going to feel great. Russell Wilson had different ideas.
Third and long. Wilson floats it way upstairs. Williams, he's got it. Touchdown.
Painful. Absolutely painful. To have this game where everybody was on the Steelers because Mike Tomlin is so good off of the bye. Mike Tomlin's so good against rookie quarterbacks, and it ended up being true. But the Commanders had this game won in the fourth quarter. They had it. They had the cover, and it is so painful that not only did the Commanders lose the game outright, but we didn't cover. Like, they should have won this football game. It's insane. The Steelers continue to win their 7-2. The Commanders drop to 7-3. I have a whole soundboard here. It's highlights from every game. I've played a passing touchdown. I've played a blocked field goal. I've played a field goal to win a game. I've played a lot. I don't have an offensive I don't have a highlight from this next game. I'm going to play you something from it, but I don't have a highlight because the final score was 12-7. That is how the Vikings beat the Jaguars, kicking 4 field goals behind Sam Darnold's 3 interceptions to beat the Jags 12-7. This is the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. He's going to say something about what they did yesterday.
And like that, those are the types of games that good teams find a way to win, regardless of what it looks like all day. And I'm proud of that. But absolutely a lot of things we need to correct and fix.
You don't say. Your quarterback threw 3 picks. You only kicked 4 field goals to win the game. You were playing Mac Jones and the Jaguars, and you could only put up 12 points. 12. You don't say that you have stuff that you need to fix. By the way, that was another one that we lost, barely. That was 6.5. And the Vikings won the game, but we just couldn't get the cover yesterday. Just couldn't. It was all over the place. Games that we were close on, just could not get the cover. One that we did get the cover on, that is the Chargers beating the Tennessee Titans 27-17. This is a touchdown late from Hassan Haskins.
The fullback, Matlock misses. Haskins over the top. The former Titan for the Chargers touchdown.
Jumbo package goes up and it crosses the goal line. That is most definitely a touchdown.
That is how the Chargers took care of business. They just did what they did. They ran the football, they leaned on you, and they got out of town with a 10-point victory to get to 6-3 to start the year. The Eagles go into Dallas, and they absolutely obliterate the Cowboys.
It's hard to win the NFL, and they're winning. He deserves credit.
He still has it, and Hurts is going to plunge across for another Eagles touchdown.
It's done in Dallas. D-O-N-E, done. Capital letters, bold font, underlined, done. Mike McCarthy cannot come back. I know they signed Dak to the contract extension, so they're just going to run it back with these guys. But I got to tell you right now, not happening. They have reached their ceiling. I don't know what it's going to look like in the future, but they are done. The last game for a Sunday night, it was the Lions. They chose to walk it off.
And now back in his hometown, he's got a 52-yarder for a come-from-behind win for the Agents. For 52 for the win. It is just good! Just inside the upright. Jake Bates, hometown hero. And the Lions have come all the way back. A remarkable victory, 19 unanswered points for the second time in this now 7-game win streak.
I mean, what else can you say about this Detroit Lions team? They play hard. Their coach believes in them. And you don't have a gritty performance like that without just being a close-knit group. And they are, and that Jake Bates field goal barely snuck through. It's like one of those shots you hit in golf where you're like, I need you to fade just a little bit. Could you just fade a little bit? Okay, you faded just as much as I needed you too late. Like you just, at the last second, you gave me what I needed. That's what that field goal was for Jake Bates. They moved to 8-1. They are the top team in the NFC. They're more than likely still going to be your top team in the NFL when we do the lunch break power rankings. That is your Week 10 NFL Rewind. Coming up when we come back from the break, he's been posted. Is this the big move that the Diamondbacks will be able to pull off? We'll talk about it on the other side. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Catch the Doug Gottlieb Show weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060 and online at KDUS1060.com.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. Terms and conditions apply.
Lovebirds, you're in for a treat. With your holiday proposal just around the corner, Shane Company is here to help you create your dream engagement ring. This is your moment. Let's make it magical. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've helped tons of couples find a beautiful engagement ring for a price that works with their budget. We've always sourced diamonds directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. At Shane Company, we have the widest selection of ring settings and center stones, in stock and ready to compare side by side. It's so easy. Choose a look that brings your vision to life. From classic styles to modern designs, we have them all. Then pick out a natural or lab-grown diamond, a sapphire in your favorite color, or a vibrant gemstone like ruby or amethyst. With our everyday competitive prices and free lifetime warranty, your forever after is safe with us. Visit shaneco.com and come see us in store. We've got your dream ring and fine jewelry gifts for everyone on your list. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
If you're a skilled trade person with a journeyman card from a registered apprenticeship, we've got an exciting opportunity just for you from Gateway Community College. Introducing the Journeyman to Associate's degree program at Gateway, where your expertise earns you more than just a paycheck. Our credit for prior learning program allows you to turn your industry credentials into college credit, putting you on the fast track to earning an associate degree without starting from square one. To see if you qualify, visit gatewaycc.edu/journeyman. That's gatewaycc.edu/journeyman to get started. Gateway, Maricopa Community College.
Every Monday night, check out Ray Adams as he hosts the Monday Night Golf and Lifestyle Show from 6 to 7 p.m. here on KDUS AM 1060.
Welcome back to the program. It is the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you. We appreciate you joining us here today on the program. You want to join the conversation, do so. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us. You can also hop on the YouTube stream, KDUS AM 1060, and you can leave a comment there. We football, basketball. Let's sneak in some baseball here to the first hour of the show because we've got you until 1 o'clock here today, and we will get back into the Arizona Cardinals at the top of the hour and continue to discuss what they were able to accomplish yesterday by getting to 6-4 and doing so in convincing fashion. But let's take a quick time out and talk about baseball because a long rumored prospect has been posted by his team, or at least the process has begun. It was rumored for a little bit now that there was a path for Roki Sasaki, right-hander out of Japan, 23 years old, was going to be posted by his team, the Chiba Latte Mariners. And that was going to start the process for him to come over to the United States and play in Major League Baseball in 2025. And so on Saturday, the Chiba Latte Marines announced that they will begin the process of posting him over to baseball. And so this posting system is the method of transfers between the two leagues, and he is available to all 30 teams. Now, because of his age, because he's under 25 years old, he is considered to Major League Baseball an international amateur free agent. So he can only sign a minor league contract. Now, I'm going to give you two recent examples of the path that Sasaki is going to go down and then a different path because of age. Shohei Ohtani, when he came over from Japan, had to follow this same path as Sasaki. He had to sign as an international amateur free agent and sign a minor league contract and sign with the Angels and sign that minor league deal. And then when that was all done, the Angels had 6 years of control with him. And then when he became a free agent, then he left and went to the Dodgers. Last offseason, we saw Yoshinobu Yamamoto sign a 12-year, $325 million contract with the Dodgers. That's because players who are at least 25 and have 6 years played in a foreign league can sign major league contracts right away. And that was where Yamamoto landed. So Sasaki is going to have to go down the path that Ohtani did. He signed with the Angels for $2.3 million, Ohtani, when he was 23. Now the interesting part of this, there are two interesting parts of this, at least in my opinion, that the timing of his posting is going to determine which year's international class he falls into. If he is posted before the middle of December, he is going to be part of the 2024 class. And a lot of teams have spent most of their 2024 class, and that runs until December 15th. If the posting is not official until after December 15th, and it takes weeks to go through this process, so it is on the table, he then is going to sign in the 2025 international window, and that frees up some money for some teams, and some teams have kept money available for him, and they can also trade for more space, and that's going to happen. So that's thing number one that's interesting. Here's thing number two, because a lot of you are probably sitting here saying, Chris, I have no idea who this guy is. You're a baseball nerd. Educate me. Tell me what I need to know about this guy, because I don't know a whole lot, and I can understand that. I don't know how many people are watching Japanese baseball. I don't know how many people are dialed into every single second of the World Baseball Classic like I am. I am a baseball nerd. So ESPN wrote up a great story, but there are some numbers that he has brought, that story brought, that I'll bring to your attention. In 2022, at 20 years old, he threw a 19 strikeout perfect game. We saw him during the 2023 World Baseball Classic, and that was very important because that was using Major League Baseball baseballs. That was not using the ball that they use in Japan, which is bigger. It is different. There's a different spin that is associated with it. And with that MLB baseball, he averaged 100.5 miles per hour in his start against Mexico. So that was a huge check mark for him. This is what he has done over his 394 innings in Japan. 29-15, 2.1 ERA, 505 strikeouts, 88 walks in 64 starts. Now, he's had an injury history that you have to worry about. There is the adjustment that you have to worry about. And he did miss some time last year with a variety of different injuries. And his stuff in 2024, this past year, is different than where it was in 2023. So there was some changes to his makeup and the pitches that he has. So there's some differences there that you have to keep an eye on. And so how does this link to the Arizona Diamondbacks? Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks have been discussed as one of the teams that could potentially be in the mix. They spent a lot of time scouting him in Japan. Mike Hazen went over there and watched him pitch in Japan. There was a lot of investment that has been made by teams to watch him pitch. And there is going to be a free-for-all for his services. This is not going to be a conversation of who has the most money. This is not going to be a conversation of, hey, who can sell me the most and give me the most dollars? That's not what this is about. This is going to be about who can sell Roki Sasaki on their team being the right fit for Sasaki. Which team can convince Sasaki that their organization, their player development, their facilities, their coaching staff, their culture, their clubhouse, the players, which team can get their message across to Roki Sasaki and sell him on their team being the best? And truly, while everyone is pointing at the Dodgers as the favorites, and I think it is a fair thing to do considering their success with Yamamoto, signing Ohtani, that he's going to have familiar faces there that he's played with the World Baseball Classic. That's going to be helpful. I truly believe everybody is available. Everybody could make a compelling case. And I've seen some tweets within the last couple of hours or so that said it is not going to be as simple as the Dodgers are going to run away with this, that Sasaki and his team are going to make sure that both short and long-term success are set up well for Sasaki, because he signs a minor league contract. They're going to have team control of him. He's going to have to spend the next 6 years in a place. And so the short term is going to be important, but also the long term, the intermediate term, because, you know, he's not going to be a free agent until he's 29, 30 years old. And so he's going to be somewhere for an extended period of time. He wants to make sure that that is the right fit, and things that matter to him, player development, making sure that he feels as though the resources available to him is going to allow him to succeed. And I think the Diamondbacks should be in a position to be able to make that pitch. They have an organizational structure that has been in place for a really long time. So this is not a brand new GM that is sitting down with Sasaki and his team and trying to sell Sasaki on a team where the person who's on the other side of the negotiations has only been there for about 5 minutes. That's not the case with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Their manager, their general manager, the front office personnel, the coaching staff, they have been a well-oiled machine for a really long time. This is the benefit of not abandoning ship when Torey Lovullo has a bad year and you have 100 losses. This is why you stay the course, because it puts you in a place where, not just with Sasaki, but with other free agents, that you can deal from a position of, we don't have organizational chaos. We don't have upheaval constantly. This is a organization. This is a leadership group that has been together for a long time. Our processes are good. We continue to do the same stuff. Stability is really important. Stability is a huge selling point, especially when somebody's going to uproot their entire existence in a foreign country and go to a place that is completely different. You're playing the same game, but a lot of the stuff is completely different. Stability is going to be important. And so the Diamondbacks have an advantage in that case where they can sell stability. Do they have an uphill battle? Yes. They have an uphill battle with the Dodgers. They have an uphill battle with the San Diego Padres, who Sasaki is very close with Yu Darvish. You are going to have a battle to compete with the Cubs, the Blue Jays. You are going to have a battle to compete with a team like the Rays or the Rangers, right? The Rays are going to be able to sell that, hey, we develop players better than almost any team in baseball. We are a lab down here with what we're able to do. So the Diamondbacks are going to have to compete. But we talked about big fish moves that the Diamondbacks would be able to make. And I said that we've run through the numbers here on the show. You can go back and listen to it in the podcast feed or on YouTube. We've talked about this. I don't think there's a lot of resources available to them compared to what they spent last offseason. I don't think they exist. This doesn't cost money, relatively. This is a minor league contract. This is something all 30 teams can do. This is a big fish where the Diamondbacks can add to their rotation and make a big move, potentially opening the door to free up $14 million by trading Zach Gallen if you're able to pull this off. And so I don't think you put all your eggs in this basket, but when it is something that is so cost beneficial to the team, I think a lot of the resources that the Diamondbacks should be spending once this official posting happens and that Sasaki comes over and takes meetings and this process officially begins, because he also has a window. Once he gets posted, there's a window for him to negotiate with teams. There is a crunch on this. This can't go into February, March. There's a timeline on this. It's 45 days. That's it. It's a 45-day window for him to sign. So the moment he is posted, 45 days for this to happen. And so it's going to be a question of start to pay attention to if teams start acquiring international money for next year. When you see trades happen here over the next couple of weeks or so, if a team makes a trade and they get back international draft pool money or they get international free agency money as part of those deals, pay attention to who does that. Pay attention to who's acquiring space, because that tells you who is at least toying around with the idea of making a pitch to Roki Sasaki. And he'd be a game changer to whoever signs him. He would be a difference maker. He's 23 years old. You'd have him for 6 years. You worry about maybe the drop-off in stuff that he had last year, but overall his stuff would still play at a top-end major league level. And there are arguments that he is better than Yoshiobu Yamamoto, who signed a 12-year, $325 million contract. Better than that. And you can get that for a minor league contract. You better get your best sales pitch ready to go. You better put together the best presentation that you've been able to put together in a really long time. Because there's a chance that you can get an absolute difference maker for the front of your rotation. And so not only are you going to have the Juan Soto sweepstakes that are going to hold everything up on the hitting side, the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes are going to hold things up on the pitching side, because everybody is going to wait to see how this plays out. Because the money, every single team, even the A's who are moving, can be interested in this. The money is basically pennies to a Major League Baseball team. All 30 teams will be involved in this. Now, all 30 teams don't have the same budget when it comes to the international money that they can offer, so that's going to potentially rule some teams out. So pay attention to who makes those moves, but know that this is going to be a lot of our conversation here. There were rumors that he was not going to get posted, that he was going to wait it out and take the Yamamoto route. But now here we are. He has been posted. This is the big move that is available to the Diamondbacks. This is the big thing that they would be able to do to make a major impact this offseason. I think everything else would be on the margins, albeit moves that they need to make. And we'll talk a little bit in hour number 2 today on the program, how I think they need to start planning some contingencies at a certain position. I think the plan B, plan C, plan D need to, those pages in the offseason binder need to be ripped out. They need to start looking at those with one specific player. But this is a game changer. This is going to change the offseason in Major League Baseball. It is Juan Soto on the hitting side, and it's Roki Sasaki on the pitching side. And these are your two big fish the teams can go out and get. So when you look at top free agents, these are your 1 and 2 right now. These are the top guys. And even though Roki Sasaki hasn't pitched a single pitch in Major League Baseball, he is going to be one of the most coveted free agents this offseason when this officially happens. But now that we know that the team is officially going to do it, we can now start the fireworks. We can start the fun to see who's interested. And there is no reason why the Arizona Diamondbacks can't be interested. Zero. None. And they have already done the scouting, and I think they will continue to put on a full court press. So that is something to keep an eye on. Hour number 1 in the books. We will turn the page to hour number 2. The Arizona Cardinals are going to head into their bye week riding high for good reason. We'll talk about it next on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Here in Flagstaff, Arizona, there are only two colors that matter: blue and gold. Head coach Brian Wright leads NAU football into a new era.
Down the sideline, it's going to be a pick six.
Join us Saturday. The Lumberjacks visit Greeley for a showdown versus the Northern Colorado Bears. Our coverage begins at 11 a.m.
NAU football on AM 1060 KDUS.
Every day, safe, prepared, informed. Every day, safety is our top priority. At APS, we consistently make updates to our electrical system to keep our crews and customers safe around electricity. Remember these tips. Put safety covers on wall outlets. Call 811 before you dig to have the location of underground wires marked. And stay at least 100 feet away from downed power lines. For more ways to stay safe around electricity, visit aps.com/brighter.
The Ram Black Friday sales event is going on now, with great deals on a wide selection of powerful and dependable Ram trucks. Now purchase and get 15% below MSRP on most 2024 Ram 1500 trucks. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for this Black Friday offer. 15% below MSRP on most 2024 Ram 1500 trucks. Excludes TRX. Not compatible with any other offer. Contact dealer for details. Take retail delivery from dealer stock by December 2nd, 2024. Ram is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
Hi, I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. Recently, Lerner & Rowe was named the second most influential law firm in the United States. Although we have offices in other parts of the country, Glenn and I both live here and raise our families here. We are your local law firm. No other law firm in the state comes close to the experience, reputation, and results as Lerner & Rowe. When you're hurt in a wreck and need a check, call the law firm that can get you the results you need. Call Lerner & Rowe.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
We're Phoenix Rescue Mission, the Love Your Neighbor people. Right now, many of our neighbors are hurting across the valley. Trapped in cycles of addiction, trauma, and homelessness, our neighbors are in need of love. We know that loving our neighbors helps restore hope and transform lives here in the valley. Find out how loving your neighbor changes all of us for the better at phoenixrescuemission.org/loveyourneighbor.
Primavera Online prepares high school students for a bright future with the Strong Mind Merit and Performance Award, which helps with college, trade school, certifications, and the military. Enroll in grades K to 12 at chooseprimavera.com.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Appreciate you joining us here on a Monday edition of the show, a Victory Monday edition of the show. You want to join the conversation, 480-864-1060 is the phone number. You can also join us on the YouTube side of things. Just search KDUS AM 1060 on YouTube, and you will unlock everything. The live stream's over there, and you can also catch up on any shows that you've missed. But we also cut up the shows based on the sport we're talking about, and so you have very easily digestible videos for the different sports. So if you just want some Suns content, we've got all that in one place. Diamondbacks, we've got all that in one place. Obviously, a lot of Cardinals stuff, not only today, but just recently with the run that they've been on. So we've got you covered there as well. And we also put up the fun stuff that we do, the Schubert 6, the NFL picks, all that stuff goes up there every single day on the YouTube side of things. So do us a favor, subscribe. And then while you're at it, download the KDUS 1060 app. You can take the show with us everywhere you go. You also have an opportunity to win by listening on the app to win a $100 gift card to Von Hansen's. So do yourself a favor. If you're already listening to the show, why don't you listen on the app so you have an opportunity to win stuff as well? Just download the app, register, make sure you're logged in while you're listening. You'll have an opportunity to win a $100 gift card to Von Hansen's and some other prizes as well in the future. So stay tuned for that. So just make sure that you download the KDUS 1060 app. Let's get back into the Arizona Cardinals, who won their 4th straight game on Sunday by defeating the New York Jets yesterday, 31-6. Absolute dominating fashion, defeating the New York Jets and moving to 6-4, holding on to first place in the NFC West. And what is so, I think, encouraging about this game in particular is it's a continuation of what they've been doing for over a month now. They have dominated some really good quarterbacks. Justin Herbert brought the Chargers to town. And the Cardinals defense held them to 5 field goals. They didn't score a touchdown in that game. The Bears come to town. Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick. More potential than he is current skill, but still a player that can score points. Over the last 2 weeks, they haven't done that. Held them to 3 field goals. The New York Jets yesterday come to town. 2 field goals. So over the last 3 weeks, over the last 3 home games for the Arizona Cardinals, they've given up 10 field goals. That's it. The last time they gave up a touchdown at home was when the Commanders dropped 42 on them. That was September 29th. That was the last time that the Cardinals gave up a touchdown at home. They've played 3 home games since then. Not a single touchdown. So for all the talk of a defense that is undermanned, for all the talk of a defense that needed help at the deadline, and I'll be the first person to throw my hand up and say, I did not think they did enough at the deadline. I still don't. I still don't think they did enough at the deadline because I do think there's a ceiling to the way that they're playing. I don't think they're on the level of the Commanders or the Lions or the Eagles who are playing good football as of late. I don't think they're on that level. I think if they got to the postseason, they would be exposed by those teams. And I think making some more moves at the deadline could have closed that gap a little bit to where if the bounce of the ball goes your way, you can make a run and win a game or maybe 2 in the postseason. I still think there's an arbitrary ceiling on this, but there is nothing that can replace the value that this performance is going to give this team long term. Because this team's young. This team's got a lot of young players on it. Marvin Harrison Jr. going to be here for a long time. Darius Robinson going to be here for a long time. Max Melton, Trey Benson, going to be here for a really long time. Taylor Demerson, who made plays yesterday. Xavier Thomas made plays yesterday, had a sack. These are guys just from the 2024 draft class that are going to be here for a long time. Paris Johnson, going to be here for a long time. This is a young group. Winning is valuable. You can talk about culture and culture building and redefining the culture. That's great. That's a great way to win the press conference. When you come in as a new head coach and a team's maybe underperformed or hasn't reached their potential, or you have to retool and you have to reset, that's a nice talking point. That's a nice message to send to your fan base, because that's your way of saying, look, this might be ugly, but we're going to hold people accountable for this. And there's value in that. But you know what there's also value in? And you know what you can't replace? Winning. And the scars that you get from both winning and losing when it matters. Because even in a win, you can get some scars and you can learn from it. You don't think they learned from that close game they played against the Chargers and their defense showed up in a big way that started this? You don't think there's value and scars from the way they came back against Miami and went on the road in Miami by a point? You don't think there's scars that you earn, or takeaways, I should say, that you earn from beating the Bears and the Jets the way that you did, dominating them the way that you did, holding them to a combined 15 points? You've given up 30 points in your last 3 home games. They're all field goals. That's what this team has done for the last month and a half. At some point, that's the sample size. And you know who also deserves a lot of praise right now, other than the defense, who, again, we think is undermanned but is still taking care of business? Kyler Murray. He's not trying to do too much. He is playing the type of football that we know he can play, and he's not turning the ball over. He's limiting the mistakes. He's taking what the defense is giving him. He had 2 rushing touchdowns yesterday. He still has that playmaking ability. but he's also not trying to force it. He had a play yesterday, just was a microcosm of the game overall. It was a play action boot, and he rolled out, and the pressure was getting to him, and he turned and threw the ball across his body, across the field to Trey McBride, who was wide open, and there wasn't a jet within 20 yards of him. They showed Trey McBride on the screen, and they weren't really zoomed in on Trey McBride. They were pretty zoomed out. There wasn't a jet anywhere on the screen. That's when you know things are going your way, and that's when you know you're confident as a quarterback, that you're able to make those plays and those decisions because I know I'm going to get the ball there. There's nobody near him. I can make this play. So you give credit where credit is due. He's not making the silly mistakes. He's keeping the offense on schedule. He's getting the ball to his playmakers. He's letting screen passes to James Conner. He's just taking off and making big plays, taking what the defense is giving you. And that builds confidence for your team. That builds confidence for your quarterback. And when it gets to crunch time late in the season and they need to win football games, they're going to draw back to this experience that they're going through right now and the way that they're playing right now because they know that they can do it. That's incredibly important. Coming up next, the Diamondbacks might need to face a reality. That reality, losing their first baseman. So who could replace him? That's next on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Check out KDUS AM 1060 on 100.7 KSLX HD2. That's right, HD radio on 100.7 channel number 2.
A noisy garage door is a cry for help that often requires only simple maintenance. However, if left untreated, could lead to costly repairs. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello from A1 Garage Door Service. Don't wait until a simple garage door repair becomes a major problem. If your garage door is noisy, if bugs are getting in, or if it struggles to open, your garage door is in need of repair. From simple repairs to upgrades, it's A1 from day one. We fix garage doors fast and with quality parts designed to last a lifetime. Our springs, rollers, and openers are tested by running them up and down, open and closed, all day, 24/7, so you can feel confident with every A1 garage door repair. Replacing the bottom rubber on your garage door can have a huge impact on the number of bugs you see in your garage and in your home. Keep those creepy crawlers outside by calling A1 Garage Door Service today and receive the best service, best parts, and best warranty in the industry.
A1Garage.com, A1 from day one.
Call today and take advantage of our $29.95 tune-up special.
Attention! Want to lose up to 15 pounds by this time next month? Now you can with semaglutide from Red Mountain Weight Loss. Get the same ingredients you'd find in the expensive brand name drugs for half the price at Red Mountain Weight Loss. For over 30 years, Red Mountain Weight Loss has been the leader in medical weight loss, providing quality medications and expert medical support. Our medications are all tested by an accredited and FDA-inspected lab, so you can trust the source. And our clinical team can help you with the tools to speed your weight loss. Why pay more when you can pay less for the same results? Get injectable semaglutide, the exact same ingredient found in the expensive brand names you've seen Oprah talk about, for a fraction of the cost. Lose up to 15 pounds by this time next month and look great in time for the holidays. Ask about our interest-free financing for payments that'll fit your budget. Red Mountain Weight Loss. Quality medications, expert support, faster results. Go to redmountainweightloss.com. That's redmountainweightloss.com.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. When you think about the best teams in the NFL, you normally think about blowout performances. We love a blowout performance. But if you really want to get a better feel for a team, see how they handle the games when nothing is going right. Like the Lions, for example. Last night, Detroit didn't look like Detroit. The team lost the time of possession battle, struggled to run the ball, and Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. The Lions eventually squeaked out a win against a talented Texans team. The Chiefs had a similar win on Sunday. Kansas City allowed Denver to sack Patrick Mahomes 4 times and had just 57 yards rushing, scored 6 points in the second half, but found a way to win. With the amount of talent on these two rosters, we probably won't see these teams in this scenario very often. But when you're capable of battling back, overcoming your own mistakes, that's the mark of a truly great team. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. 90% of hiring decision makers expect to face hiring challenges this year. It's clear that hiring is difficult, but what if somebody could post a job, sift through resumes, and then take care of the interviews for you? That's what Express Employment Professionals does every single day. They make hiring easy, and they are in your neighborhood so they can work directly with local business owners. Go to expresspros.com. Find the location nearest you. That's expresspros.com. You know our trusted partner, TireRack.com, for their fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and their great selection of the best tires like the highly consumer-rated Toyo Open Country AT3. But did you know they sell other automotive products? Wheels, brakes, and suspension, just to name a few. Everything you need to elevate your drive. You can go to TireRack.com/Dan. That's TireRack.com/Dan. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
HD Radio is here for KTUS AM 1060. Check out your favorite shows and games on 100.7 KSLX HD2.
Welcome back to the program, The Lunch Break, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you. We've got you until 1 o'clock here today on a Monday. A lot of football that we've already reacted to. The general manager meetings in Major League Baseball in the past. The offseason starting to heat up a little bit, and we are learning a lot from what occurred last week at the MLB GM meetings, and it doesn't feel like this is a good sign for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Bob Nightingale of USA Today did sort of a recap of what he was hearing from the GM meetings for Major League Baseball. And he said that the hottest name among players that are free agents, not named Juan Soto, because clearly Juan Soto generates his own market by himself. He's going to generate buzz, and he's going to be the topic of every conversation because, again, like we've warned everybody, we've told you, that's going to be the thing that holds everything up. People are going to wait to see where Juan Soto goes. The hottest name that was brought up among all players not named Juan Soto was first baseman Christian Walker. According to Bob Nightingale, there are at least 6 teams who plan to aggressively pursue Walker. Talked about the Yankees, talked about the Diamondbacks, talked about the Washington Nationals. We warned you about them as well. And then the Mets and Yankees, potentially, depending on where Pete Alonso goes. We've mentioned the Cubs to you here on the show, but 6 teams at least that plan to aggressively pursue Christian Walker. Does that sound like a formula that leads to the Diamondbacks getting Christian Walker back on a deal that's going to make sense in the context of the budget that we've talked about on the show? Do you feel like Christian Walker, if 6 teams plan to aggressively pursue him, that market gets to a place where the Diamondbacks bring him back and still get to do other moves? Do you get that feeling? Because I don't get that feeling. I don't feel if the Yankees are involved, if the Mets are involved, if the Nationals, who are primed to spend money. Look, the Washington Nationals tore it down after they won the World Series. They tore it down. Traded Juan Soto, Harper left. They made moves. They built up their farm system again. So they're ready to maybe put some investment into the major league team. Are they going to go crazy? No, I don't think so. I think they're going to spend a little bit more aggressively than we've seen recently from them. The Cubs are looking to make a big splash. The Red Sox might throw their name into the hat. When you have these teams that I've mentioned to you, and the Mets and Yankees, you know that money is not an object. It's just an object to them. They just use it to just build a team. They are not under the same restraints that other teams are, specifically the Mets, who operate at a loss right now, but their owner is a hedge fund billionaire who just continues to invest money into the team because he's worth like $17 billion. Not everybody can compete with that. So you have 6 teams that plan to aggressively pursue Walker, according to this USA Today story from Bob Knight. Does that feel to you that's going to lead to a market where the Diamondbacks are in a prime position? I'm sure Christian Walker loved it here. I'm sure the Diamondbacks loved having Christian Walker here. I'm sure there is some level of comfortability where both sides would like to just reunite and come back. But when you hit free agency and those contracts start flowing in and you got teams that are offering you money And the number just keeps going up and up and up. At some point, going back to where you were playing in the past, and that comfortability comes off the table. And I just fear that the Diamondbacks, compared to the other teams that are knowingly, the Yankees, Nationals, and Mets, being thrown out there by a reporter who's in the know, who follows this stuff, who talks to people. If he's saying that those teams are going to be in the mix, I just don't know how the Diamondbacks don't get priced out of this. And that is a scenario that they need to plan for. So what does that look like? Well, Jesse Friedman, who covers the Diamondbacks for PHNX, did a story that talked about 5 potential trade targets for the Diamondbacks at first base. So not the free agency route, not signing guys to contracts, but if Christian Walker were to decline his 1 year, $21.5 or $21.05 million qualifying offer and hit the free agency market and go someplace else, go to Washington, go to the Yankees, go to the Mets. He gave 5 names of players that could be available. Now, I'll give you the names, and then we'll go back and react to them. Josh Naylor of the Cleveland Guardians, Nathaniel Lau of the Texas Rangers, Yandy Diaz of the Tampa Bay Rays, Ryan Mountcastle of the Baltimore Orioles, and Rhys Hoskins of the Milwaukee Brewers. And I think with each of these players presents a unique situation. We'll start from the bottom and we'll work our way back. Hoskins exercised an $18 million player option for his deal. And then also there's a mutual option for $18 million for 2026 that carries a $4 million buyout. So if you are going to trade for Rhys Hoskins, who hit 26 homers and 82 RBIs coming off of a torn ACL, he only hit 214, but hit 26 homers and 82 RBIs. If you're going to trade for him, there's $18 million that you have to account for. Maybe the Brewers choose to pay some of that down. Friedman in the story mentions that maybe the Brewers would want to eat some of the money to free it up because they are a small market team. I just don't know a scenario where even if Milwaukee paid half of it, the Diamondbacks would make a move, trade a prospect, and take on $9 million for this year, and then guarantee themselves at least a $4 million buyout. And if they want to take on Rhys Hoskins for 2026, it's going to cost them $18 million. So it's $27 million for the next 2 seasons. I just don't know if that is where the Diamondbacks are going to want to play on this. Ryan Mountcastle. The interesting thing here is the Orioles have so many players that they try to fit into their team that they've got a surplus of infielders, and they could trade him. He hit 271, 13 homers, 63 RBIs, was worth 1.5 wins above replacement, has been a solid above average player. 27 years old, he could make some sense. But Baltimore might want some rotation help, as Friedman points out, so that could be on the back burner. Now, the player that really stands out to me, this is a player that I think out of all of these options, I would be the most in favor of, would be Yandy Diaz from the Tampa Bay Rays. He's got $10 million owed in 2025, $12 million club option for 2026 with no buyout. So you trade for him, you have $10 million on your books for this year, and then if you want to have him back, it's $12 million. But if you don't, it doesn't cost you anything. And here is the rub with the Rays. They are the perfect trade partner because they get in front of this stuff. They have a limited payroll. They have a limited window with some of these players, and they work ahead. They work ahead. So Yandy Diaz could play first base. He could be the DH for them. And he hit 281 with 14 homers and 65 RBIs. His WRC plus was 120, but that was a down year for him. So his value, as low as it could get, because he had a 163 WRC plus in 2023 and a 145 mark in 2022. 100 is average for those of you who are unfamiliar with WRC plus. Anything above it shows that you are better than league average. So a 120 WRC plus means Yandy Diaz was 20% better than the league average hitter. The year prior, he was 63% better than the league average. This is a above average hitter in Major League Baseball. Defensively leaves a lot to be desired, but I think the trade partner is what makes this so attractive for me. The Rays love to do this. They love to find ways to free up money. And so to free up $10 million that they can maybe use elsewhere, and then they take a prospect off your hands and they try to work their Rays magic, that would make some sense. Now, he's on the older side. He's 33. So he's the player that you're acquiring for this win now window. But he makes the most sense to me. Josh Naylor of the Guardians could make some sense. He's 27 years old. He's a left-handed hitter. Hit 31 homers and 108 RBIs in 152 games. Very similar to what Christian Walker provides, a left-handed bat. They have a replacement on the roster, as Friedman points out in his story. They have Kyle Manzardo, who's a young prospect who they called up last year. So again, it takes two to tango. The Guardians feel like a team that would be interested in tangoing, and it also feels like the Rays are a team to tango. Don't know how enticing $18 million and that Milwaukee Brewers situation with Rhys Hoskins feels like, and Ryan Mountcastle. But I am just preparing you. This story got written by Jesse Friedman yesterday, and the story from Bob Nightingale really kind of lit this fire under me of this. We need to prepare for a post-Christian Walker world, and what does that look like? Who is available? Then Friedman put together the story of those players, some of which I like, some of which I don't. Yandy Diaz, again, the Rays are a great trade partner, but he's 33 years old. Defensively, he might profile more as a DH long-term if you keep him beyond next season. Josh Naylor is on the younger side at 27, but that probably comes with a higher price tag. It just depends on what the Diamondbacks' appetite here is for money to take on, prospects to give up, and what the other team's appetite is to make a trade. But if the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to improve this team, I think a lot of it is going to come via the trade market. That is where they are going to thrive the most because they don't have the financial wiggle room, I think, in free agency. So just prepare yourself. The teams that are interested in Christian Walker could drive him out of range for the Diamondbacks. Here are a couple of options that they could replace him with. On the other side, it was another fantastic weekend for the Sun Devils, even without their best player. We'll get to that on the other side. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Ready to bring KDUS AM 1060 into your home with Alexa?
Hi, I'm Alexa.
Download the KDUS AM 1060 skill and enable. Then say, Alexa, open KDUS AM 1060.
This is where I start my day.
License number 146316.
I'm back in action!
What in the...
Oh, Tasha! I got my magical operations license back.
Does that mean your lamp passed inspection?
Yes!
I'm so happy for you, Jeannie.
They even said that they would be responsible if anything fails for the next 500 years.
Great news.
That's the same as ASAP commercial doors. Right, Tasha?
If we inspect your door and everything is working properly, we will take responsibility for it.
Amazing!
Jeannie, why are you laughing like that?
Because now the stupid Genie High Council can go suck an egg.
Jeannie?
ASAP commercialdoors.com.
The council is a bunch of jerks.
Don't think you should say that.
License number 146316.
I'm back in action!
What in the...
Oh, Tasha! I got my magical operations license back.
Does that mean your lamp passed inspection?
Yes!
I'm so happy for you, Jeannie.
They even said that they would be responsible if anything fails for the next 500 years.
Great news.
That's the same as ASAP commercial doors. Right, Tasha?
If we inspect your door and everything is working properly, we will take responsibility for it.
Amazing!
Jeannie, why are you laughing like that?
Because now the stupid Genie High Council can go suck an egg.
Jeannie?
ASAP commercialdoors.com.
The council is a bunch of jerks.
Don't think you should say that.
By now, you've heard all of our ads. America's largest injury law firm. But what does that really mean for our clients, for you? It means that when you hire us, you don't just get a lawyer, you get a legal army, almost 800 lawyers alone. That army includes an entire legal team, specialist lawyers, investigators, and a 24/7 client satisfaction staff. Just like if you were going into surgery, you wouldn't trust one person to handle the paperwork, the scheduling, the anesthesia, and the surgery. Have you ever seen a surgeon operating alone and without resources? No way. Why would you trust a small firm with your case? Your case is a big deal to us. When it comes to law, size matters. We're America's largest injury law firm, Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Need social information about KDUS AM 1060? Try KDUS1060.com, at KDUS AM 1060 on Twitter, and Facebook.com/KDUS AM 1060.
Welcome back to the show, The Lunch Break, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you. We've got you another half hour, top of the hour. We hand it over to Doug Gottlieb and then Rich Eisen, and then you've got the Rooster, the Sports Zoo later on tonight. You also have James out west, Ray with the golf show. We got a lot of great stuff here to start your week on a Monday here on KDUS AM 1060. All the more reason for you to download the KDUS 1060 app so that you can take the show, take the station with you anywhere you go, and you can listen wherever you want to. And if you want to join the conversation today here on the show, 480-864-1060 is the phone number. You can also join us on the YouTube side of things as well and throw your comment in there. It was a fantastic weekend for ASU football, who, without their best player, and we can all admit Cam Scatterbo, the best player on the Arizona State Sun Devil program, the best player. Everything runs through him. Without their best player, they welcomed in a UCF team who, record-wise, not the best opponent that the Sun Devils have played yet this season, not the best opponent they're going to play throughout the entire year, but anytime you are playing a conference game, it is a challenge. It is even more so a challenge when you are in year one of a new conference and you are seeing some of these opponents for the first time. Not a lot of advanced scouting that you're able to do year in and year out, right? When you get into the Pac-12 schedule, you see these opponents year after year after year. You know what's different about the team. It's easy. First year in the Big 12, how many times do you see UCF, right? So it's new. And so that presents a challenge. Not having your best player presents a challenge, right? And a lot was going to be asked of Sam Levitt, because if not for Cam Scatterbo, the next person that you would look to for the Arizona State Sun Devils to get this team going is Sam Levitt. If this team's going to be successful, he can get it done. That is who you're going to ask to get it done. And they welcomed in UCF, and they took care of business behind a 3-touchdown performance from Sam Levitt. 35-31, they defeated UCF. They moved to 7-2 on the season, 4-2 in the conference. And I'll tell you right now, we should be having a conversation of if they're going to get into that top 25 when the next college football playoff rankings come out on Tuesday, tomorrow night. There is a legitimate conversation for them to be in the mix because they are playing in a good conference. They are playing good football. And let's just call it what it is. They are a team that can compete for the Big 12 title. They control their own fate. They play Kansas State. They play BYU. They play U of A. If they run the table and they go 10-2, and why can't they run the table? Why can't they beat BYU? Why can't they beat Kansas State? Why can't they beat the University of Arizona? Why can't they win those 3 games? Why? Is BYU some juggernaut? Is Kansas State, who's already got 2 losses and has the same record as ASU, are they a team that we should be afraid of? BYU barely beat Utah, 22-21. And I know they're undefeated. I know they're currently going to represent the Big 12 in a college football playoff if it were to start today. But ASU beat Utah by a bigger margin than BYU beat Utah. And that's not how it works. They have to play the game. But that's encouraging. That tells me they belong on the field. And it's part of the reason why I think Cam sat out this week is so that they had him for Kansas State for BYU. Because when the season started, this was not on the table. This was not what we were considering. But it absolutely has to be put on the table that this team can truly make noise in the Big 12. And it's not a disappointment if they don't. It's not a disappointment if they go out there and struggle against Kansas State and they drop a game. It is not. This season is not going to be considered a disappointment. It does not matter what happens the rest of the way. Kenny Dillingham has taken a program that was irrelevant, that was a laughing stock in college football. That's where Arizona State was when Herm Edwards left this program, when Ray Anderson left this program. When they were gone, when they moved on, this program was a laughing stock. This program was at the bottom. It was at rock bottom. And ASU had to make a decision of what direction they wanted to go in. Who were they going to hire as a head coach? How are they going to convince somebody to get on board to take over this project and to clean this up? Because it was going to take a while, right? It was going to take a while for somebody to come in here and clean this mess up. You had a poor coaching staff. You had recruiting violations. You had an AD that had overstayed his welcome. It was a situation where how could you convince somebody to come in here and take on this project? Well, you know what? They found the right guy because they found a guy who's from this program. They found a guy who believes in this program. They found a guy who is dedicated in spades to this program. And if you need any further proof of it, just watch the way he handles himself in a post-game press conference on television. He loves this university. He loves it. He would do anything to see this university and this football program succeed. And you know what? Here's the little secret. It already is succeeding. Because they got that guy to sign on board to do this, to fix this. And in year one, he had to clean up a lot of the mess. And year two was supposed to be probably a continuation of cleaning up that mess. And then it was really going to be year three or year four where this program took off. Well, you know what? Kenny Dillingham and his coaching staff, his recruiting staff, his players, they all had different ideas. And I want to compare the Sun Devils to the Cardinals for just a second, because we have talked about the Cardinals having an identity and believing in that identity and taking on that identity. And that comes from coaching. And that comes from the coaching, instilling it in the leadership council, in the leadership group, in that locker room. And we talk about it with James Conner and Kyler Murray and how that feeds the rest of the team. Kenny Dillingham has done the same thing at Arizona State because his players believe in the message. They believe in what he is selling because he's authentic, because he's real. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He tells the players like it is. He holds them accountable, but he also is real and he cares. And he lifts his guys up, and he is everything you want in a college football coach in 2024. And I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for my alma mater that this is what is happening right now for this program, because they have turned a corner, not to just be a story here on this show, on this program, to where we're talking about them multiple times throughout the week. I didn't think when we launched this show that we were going to really have a lot of ASU coverage. It was going to be probably a 2025 thing. But here we are in 2024 talking about a team that's 7-2, is 4-2 in the conference, has the same record as Kansas State and Iowa State. They are one game back of Colorado for the second spot in the conference to play in a Big 12 title game. You beat Kansas State next week. You hop in front of them in the standing. You beat BYU. They'll drop their first conference game, but you'll have beaten them head-to-head. And then you've got Arizona. Colorado, the team directly in front of you, has Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State. So you don't necessarily think there's going to be a slip-up. For BYU, it's Kansas, it's Arizona State, and then it's Houston. Shouldn't necessarily see a slip-up there. So you got to take care of business and win out. You got to beat Kansas State in Manhattan, Kansas. You got to host BYU and beat them. You got to do your job and then get the help. But it doesn't start unless you do your job. But we are talking about a team that could very realistically end this season with double-digit wins. They win 2 of their final regular season games. They win a bowl game, that's 10. They run the table, that's 10. We would be talking about an all-time great season for Arizona State because the expectations were so low. This team's already bowl eligible. They're already in line to go to a great bowl game. And you know what? You know the best part about it is, doesn't the future feel bright? Doesn't the future feel good with what Kenny Dillingham is doing? Doesn't the future feel good that Sam Levitt's probably going to stick around here for a little bit. And you know what? Kenny is the ultimate salesperson because in the best possible way. And I don't know, producer Dylan, if you saw this, but after the game, he was at the podium and he was talking about Sam Levitt. And in a way, and this is the way college football is in 2024, and some people might not like it. I loved it. I loved that this is the way Kenny Dillingham is thinking, even after the emotions of just winning a big game like that. But he is talking about how in this state, with a quarterback like that, to have somebody as talented as that in the building, that he should have a car deal. He should have all these NIL deals because you want to keep a player like that in the building. And the fact that Kenny Dillingham can go to a podium after a game with all the emotion from the game and understand how the game is played in 2024 and to sell the message the way that he did, it didn't sound like he was, asking for people to go out of their way. He was just saying, if this is what you want this program to be, if you're enjoying what you're seeing here, when talented players like this come into the building, the collective has to do their job. The collective has to put together an effort to keep these players here. Because it's one thing to bring these players in, it's another thing to keep them. And if you want ASU to be this sleeping giant that everybody keeps talking about, you got to back it up. And so the national media is getting on board with this. I saw a lot of people say the turnaround that ASU has undergone has been incredible, and it has. It is so exciting. It has just been so much fun. I'm already amped up for their game on this week against Kansas State. Like, I'm already ready to go because it's a big game. There's a decent chance they're ranked. They could be in the top 25 of the college football playoff by the time we get to this game. They should be taken seriously. And then they win that game. Now we're going to start the scoreboard watch a little bit. You beat Kansas State this week. You're going to start the scoreboard watch what BYU and Colorado are doing. You're going to start the scoreboard watch what Iowa State is doing. And did we ever think that was going to be possible? So just the fact that we are having this conversation, that we are able to enjoy this moment, is the ultimate tip of the cap to Kenny Dillingham to put this program this quickly into this spot. He joined the Big 12 and was projected to finish last in the conference. Last, the bottom. Was laughable at the time. Now it feels incredibly foolish by all of those people that voted them at the bottom. Because now there's a chance, if this team continues to play this way and gets healthy and gets Cam back, which is certainly on the table, they could be playing in a Big 12 title game. And so it felt like on a Monday where we're praising the Arizona Cardinals, that we also needed to praise the work that is being done in Tempe, Arizona, because it is an absolute incredible turnaround for this team to be in this spot. And so in a couple of days, they will go to Manhattan, Kansas, and potentially be ranked, and it'll be a ranked college football playoff face-off between them and Kansas State with everything on the line. Absolutely incredible. When we get back, we will wrap up this edition of The Lunch Break. It is The Leftovers. We'll talk a little Monday Night Football and everything else that we didn't get to here on the show. We'll do it next. It's The Lunch Break, KDUS AM 1060.
Your caddy, Ray Adams, takes you beyond the 18th hole on Saturday mornings with Great American Golf from 6 to 7 a.m. on KDUS AM 1060.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. Terms and conditions apply.
Don't let erectile dysfunction impact your performance. It's a common medical condition, and there's no shame in seeking help. Arizona Urology Specialist. Personal care for life's most personal issues. Visit ArizonaURO.com or call 602-887-2160.
Every day, community, supporting, giving. Every day at APS, we support Arizona community organizations and our customers, giving back to help Arizona teachers, nonprofits, and families, volunteering to support and strengthen neighborhoods, working with local partners to provide customers with crisis assistance and other services when they need it most. To help your community or find assistance for yourself or someone you know, visit aps.com/brighter. That is funded by Pinnacle West shareholders.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty. That the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people,
At Affordable Dentures and Implants, their Snap Secure dental implants will let you eat and speak with confidence at a price that's affordable. So if you think you can't afford dental implants, think again. Their 6 practices in the Phoenix area are open to serve you. Schedule a free new smile consultation by calling 1-800-DENTURE or visit AffordableDentures.com. That's 1-800-DENTURE or visit AffordableDentures.com to find the practice near you. Schedule your new smile consultation today. Services provided by an Arizona licensed general dentist. Affordable Dentures and Implants. Go ahead and smile.
Go ahead and smile.
Have you downloaded the KDUS AM 1060 skill for Alexa yet?
Food. Alexa is frustrated. No matter how many times do you ask, the answer is mail, chicken.
Once you're ready, say Alexa, open KDUS AM 1060 to listen to your favorite shows.
Back to wrap up this edition of the Lunch Break, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you. Appreciate you joining us here on your lunch break during our lunch break. And it was a great day yesterday for the Arizona Cardinals, who continued their winning ways, defeating the New York Jets 31-6 to keep hold of first place in the NFC West. And now they get the opportunity to just kind of sit back, relax, have a bye week. And we didn't get to this the previous times during the show that we've talked about the Cardinals. So we'll touch on it here as we do the leftovers as we wrap up this edition of the show. I'm not sure how to feel about a team that is playing as well as the Cardinals have been playing as of late, going on their bye while they're playing this well, right? There's the argument of you don't want to take the time off. You don't want to stop playing because you're just playing so well, right? Things are going well. You've won 4 in a row. You've won 5 of your last 6. Like, let's just keep this going. Like, bring on Seattle. Like, we'll get on the plane right now. Let's go play, because you feel like you're invincible right now. Everything's going your way. Play design's great. You're getting healthier as a group. Like, everything's just going your way. And so you're like, yeah, I don't want this to stop. Like, don't halt our momentum. This isn't a team beating you. This is you just stopping playing, and that's what throws you off. And then there's the other part of me that goes, no, like, this is the perfect time for the bye week. You've won 4 in a row. You've won 5 of your last 6. You got to week 10. You've played 10 straight weeks. There's 7 games for you left to play. Take the week off and just emphasize, this is the stretch run. You have gotten through the hardest part of the calendar for the Arizona Cardinals. Were these first 10 weeks up to the bye week. You have gotten through that stretch at 6-4 in first place in the division. This is now the stretch run. You've done the hard part. Continue to do the work. Continue to do the little things right. Continue to work hard every single day. Continue to bring the energy and the enthusiasm and the toughness and the grittiness. Continue to bring that to the table, and the results will follow here coming out of the bye week. That's the way that I would position it, and that's the way that I would spin it. Because, look, you have your bye week in week 4, week 5. You got to go a long way before your next time off. And so, is it perfectly in the middle? No. But it feels like it's coming up the exact right time for the Cardinals. It is one of the tough games left on their schedule, a road trip to Seattle. They get that after the bye, so a perfect opportunity to prepare for one of the tough opponents that's still left on their schedule. There aren't a lot. They get to play the Patriots. They get to play the Panthers. They get to play the Vikings, who right now I think they can beat. I think the Cardinals, it's a road game, so they won't be favored. Because I don't think everybody, again, what a ridiculous notion by Vegas to have the Arizona Cardinals as an underdog at home to the 3-6 New York Jets. It opened at 1.5 and it got bet all the way to the Jets minus 1.5. At some point, we're going to figure this out, right? At some point, this team's going to be priced correctly. At some point, people are going to catch up to what we've been talking about for about a month now. We've almost reached the 1 month mark of doing this show. We've been talking about it since we turned the red light on here and we started doing it. That this team can go on a run. The schedule is favorable. They're playing decent football. If they just limit some of the mistakes that were shooting themselves in the foot in the past, they would feel good and they would play good. They started to do that. They started to not make those mistakes. They started to play the brand of football that their coach wants them to play, that they're designed to play. And listen, credit where credit is due. They've played better than I think their talent defensively indicates. And that's a credit to a young, hungry group that hears this. Here's me saying this. Here's the stories that are written. Here's the podcasts that are being recorded, and says, okay, we'll show you. And so they've put themselves in position to be in first place and to really be able to make some noise here coming out of the bye. And so I think it comes at a perfect time for them. I think it comes at a perfect time for this franchise to not hit the reset button, but just to kind of understand, okay, you've done a lot. You've gotten to this place. Job's not done. Let's celebrate what's gotten us here, but let's focus on the bigger picture, and that is the noise that we can make in the second half. There's a Monday night game tonight, and boy, does it really feel like this is a game that both teams have to have. You have the Rams, who sit at 4-4. A win in this game gets them to 5-4. It puts them right on pace with the San Francisco 49ers, keeping those teams just one game back in the win column for the Cardinals. And so I think there's a big difference between being 4-5 and losing to the Miami Dolphins and being 5-4 and beating the Miami Dolphins. And for Miami, you would think that at 2-6, it's over, but a win would take them from 12th all the way past the Patriots at 11, the Jets at 10, and it would put them just one game back in the win column because they've already had their bye. It would put them one game back in the win column of the 8-seeded Indianapolis Colts, which is just one game back of the Denver Broncos, who hold the last wild card spot. So you would sit there and say, man, how can you tell me, Chris, that the 2-6 Dolphins have something to play for tonight? But Tua is healthy. And if they win this football game, they're right in this big mess that is the AFC, because that's what it is. It's not really a playoff battle because all these teams stink. But at 3-6, you're mathematically in it. You lose, you go to 2-7. That puts you tied with the Browns, the Titans, the Raiders. That's one loss better than the worst team in football, the 2-8 Jaguars and the 2-8 Giants. Yeah, you're done at that point. You're toast. You start thinking about whether or not you want to get out of Tua's contract at the end of the year. You win, you pass the Jets and the Patriots, who are going nowhere fast. You get to 3-6. You get to a winning percentage that puts you in the mix with the Colts and Bengals. Okay. You can at least think that you're alive, because you then play the Raiders and the Patriots the next 2 weeks. And you have 2 games left with the Jets, who don't look like they're a good team. You play the Browns. The math starts to be able to math a little bit. So it feels like, even though you look at a game that has a team that is 500 and a team that is 4 games below 500, and you would think to yourself, feels like a Thursday night game. Feels like a game that should be in Munich, Germany. Feels like a game that should be in London, right? 2-6 and 4-4. Feels like one of those games. This game has massive implications for both teams. If you're the Rams, you drop to 4-5 after losing to the Dolphins. You fall another game back of the Cardinals in the loss column. I am going to start to question if you are for real. Because at 5-4, you're still in there. You're tied with the 49ers. You're one game back in the win column. I can't rule you out. I can't say you're done. At 4-5, losing to a 2-6 team, I can start to maybe question if this is going to fade pretty quickly for you. For the Dolphins, a win, you're right there, one game in the win column back of the 8 seed, which is just one spot out of the 507 seed, which is the Denver Broncos at 5-5. So it's not over. And so for a game that has 6 combined wins and 10 combined losses, it's a game that matters tremendously for both sides. So I'll be paying attention to that game tonight, and we'll be interested to see how it plays out. My gut tells me the Rams win this game, and it feels like this is the final nail in the coffin for the Dolphins. But if they win, they're right back in it. Other big takeaways from the NFL yesterday, we did the NFL Rewind, and now we're number one. My quick thoughts about all of these teams. And if you missed anything from the show, you can go back and podcast it. Just search The Lunch Break wherever you get your podcast. It's on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever app you use for podcasts. It is all available there for you so that you can catch up on the show. You can also catch up on the full show on YouTube, KDUSA and 1060 on the YouTube side of things. But in hour number one, we do the NFL Rewind. My quick thoughts to all of these games in Week 10. But I want to go back to one in particular because I don't think they're going to make the change right now. I think they'll wait till the end of the season. But it yesterday felt like it was over for the Dallas Cowboys. You found out that Dak's going to more than likely undergo season-ending surgery and be done for the year. You were already 3-5 going into the game. Now you've lost. You're 3-6. You have yet to win a home game. Can you imagine if you are a season ticket holder for the Dallas Cowboys? Those are not cheap. Those don't come cheap. And you have gone to 4 home games, and you have watched your team lose every single one of those home games. And I'm here to tell you, you haven't just watched your team lose home games and they were nail-biters and they were entertaining. These are the 4 home games that the Dallas Cowboys have played this year. 44-19 to the Saints. You lost 28-25 to the Ravens, but that was a blowout that you made close late. You got embarrassed at home 47-9 to the Lions, and then you just got embarrassed 34-6 to a division rival in the Eagles. You've lost 4 games in a row. You've lost all 4 home games this year. And oh, by the way, the next team coming to town, the Texans. Embarrassment certainly on the table with that team. So where are we going? You have the star player of your team, Micah Parsons, saying that it's above his pay grade if Mike McCarthy should be back next season. Not good. You have Jerry Jones being combative with the media there in Dallas, who are just asking legitimate questions like, hey, Jerry, why'd you build the stadium where the sun is in your players' eyes and it's costing you games? Hey, Jerry, why does your team have problems stopping the run and being able to run the football when we knew that was a problem in the summer and you didn't do anything about it on either side? Not asking gotcha questions, just asking legitimate questions to the owner and general manager of a team that is 3-6. And so they are always going to generate a ton of buzz. And right now, it is not the type of buzz that you want. Right now, it's the type of buzz that leads to people getting fired. And you can't fire the GM. The GM is the owner. So the only person that's going to go is Mike McCarthy. And maybe they try to sell that, Dak got hurt. It was a mess before Dak got hurt. The team is a flawed team that has reached its ceiling, and there's not a big future, I think, there for that team. I don't think there's an NFC championship game in their future. I don't think there's a Super Bowl appearance in their future. That they are a mess. They are going in the wrong direction. Speaking of wrong directions, what are the Bears going to do? What are the Giants going to do? What are the Jaguars going to do? I mean, all 4 of those teams have coaching problems right now. Did the Bears pull the plug on Matt Eberflus and try to bring in somebody that's offensive-minded that can work with Caleb Williams? What do the Giants do? Their owner came out and said GM and coach are fine. You know what? Just real quick, and I'll talk about the Jags and more about the Giants. Isn't it nice? Isn't it nice to not do this with your coaching staff? Isn't it nice to wake up on a Monday and listen to this show while you're at work and think, my team's got it figured out? My team's got a GM and coach that are rowing the boat in the same direction. My team's got a GM and coach that are on the same page. My team's got a GM and coach that I have faith and trust in, and they have shown me to be mature leaders, and they know what they're doing, and they're making good decisions. Doesn't it feel good to have belief in your coaching staff? It's got to feel great. An awesome way to start the week. The Bears, dumpster fire right now with the number 1 overall pick. Cowboys, dumpster fire. Giants, owner comes out and says, hey, no problem. I'm going to give you the endorsement. I'm going to say you're fine. I'm going to say I don't foresee making any changes. I don't foresee firing the coach or firing the GM. And you know what the Giants have done since that moment? They haven't won a single game. They've lost 5 in a row. You know who doesn't have that problem? Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals don't have that problem. They don't need the owner to come out and issue a show of support saying, I'm not going to make any changes, and then the team proceeds to lose more games. You don't have to be like the New York Jets, who fired their head coach to receive a boost and have done nothing but. You don't have to be the Dallas Cowboys, who the owner and the GM are the same person and it's a complete dumpster fire. You don't have to be those teams. You can choose. And this is where, when people talk about ownership and they say that things won't change until owners change, and I'm not talking about the Cardinals, just in general, they talk about this. If you hire the smart people, if you hire good people and let them do their job, it doesn't matter the owner. because there were people who would say that about Michael Bidwell, but he hired a good GM. The GM hired a good coach. Look what's happening. Look at what the results are for this team. Another edition of the lunch break in the books. We are back tomorrow. We'll have more Cardinals, more Suns, more Diamondbacks. You name it, we'll have it here. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.